Imagine this. You walk into your favorite store, expecting to buy a $1,000 refrigerator, but when you check the price tag, it's $1,400. You hesitate. Inflation's already squeezing your wallet. Gas is up. Groceries cost a fortune. And now, even household appliances are out of reach. But here's the thing. It's not just inflation. This price hike, it's tariffs. The government tells you tariffs are a way to punish China, protect American jobs, and rebuild our economy. But what if I told you the real cost of tariffs isn't paid by China, it's paid by you? Let's break this down. So first, what exactly is a tariff? A tariff is just a tax on imported goods. It's an extra fee that the US government imposes on foreign products, making them more expensive than they normally would be. The idea is simple. If imported goods cost more, American consumers will be more likely to purchase products made in the US instead. On the surface, this might sound like a smart economic move, or even a patriotic one. Support American businesses. Stop relying on China. Keep jobs in the US. But here's what they don't tell you. Tariffs don't just make imported goods more expensive, they make everything more expensive. And at the end of the day, you are the one paying for it. Let's take a look at what actually happened after the Trump administration imposed tariffs on China in 2018. Steel and aluminum tariffs. Prices jumped 25% almost immediately. Tariffs on electronics. Prices skyrocketed 15% overnight. The total cost to American consumers? Over $80 billion. And that number is still climbing. And here's the part that might shock you. The US government didn't actually collect that money. Big corporations? They didn't absorb those costs either. You paid it. And it gets even worse. When tariffs are placed on raw materials like steel and aluminum, American manufacturers are forced to pay more for the supplies they need. And where do those extra costs go? Straight to the consumer. That means the price of cars, appliances, and even beer. Yes, beer, because of aluminum cans, all went up. Politicians love to tell you that tariffs are a way to punish China. It sounds tough, right? Make China pay, protect American jobs, strengthen the US economy. But here's the problem. China isn't paying a dime. Here's what actually happens. A US retailer buys products from China. The US government imposes a tariff. The retailer raises prices to make up for that extra cost. You pay the higher price. So who's really paying for these tariffs? American consumers. And it's not just small purchases. Thinking about buying a new car? Tariffs on auto parts add an extra $1,200 to the final price. Need a new washing machine? Since 2018, tariffs have pushed prices up by 12%. Even everyday items like shoes, clothes, and groceries have been affected. And here's the worst part. Once prices go up, they almost never come back down. The government claims tariffs protect American jobs. But do they really? Let's break it down. The idea behind tariffs sounds simple. Tax foreign imports, make them more expensive, and force companies to buy American-made goods instead. That way, domestic industries thrive, factories stay open, and workers keep their jobs. At least, that's the theory. But reality tells a different story. In 2018, when the US placed tariffs on steel and aluminum, major American companies, some of the biggest employers in the country, sounded the alarm. These tariffs will cost us jobs. They warned the government. They warned the public. They showed the math. Nobody listened. Then the consequences hit. Harley-Davidson, an iconic American motorcycle company, announced it was shifting production overseas to avoid the higher costs. Ford, one of the largest car manufacturers in the US, had to lay off thousands of workers to offset rising expenses. The American agriculture industry, already struggling, lost $27 billion in trade deals as other countries retaliated with tariffs of their own. Farmers, caught in the crossfire, faced financial ruin and had to be bailed out with $28 billion in taxpayer money just to survive. And that's just the beginning. The higher costs forced American manufacturers to cut expenses wherever they could. Many froze hiring, some reduced wages, others shut down entirely. Instead of protecting American jobs, tariffs destroyed them. So, if tariffs don't work, why do politicians keep pushing them? Because on paper, they sound like a strong, decisive strategy. They let politicians stand at podiums and say things like, "We're punishing China. We're bringing back American jobs. We're making America strong again." It's a powerful message. It taps into economic fears, national pride, and a deep desire for security. But behind closed door, they know the truth. Tariffs aren't some clever economic weapon. They're just another tax. A tax that doesn't hit foreign governments. A tax that doesn't hit big corporations. A tax that falls squarely on the shoulders of the American people. And that tax, it's making life harder, more expensive, less affordable for everyday families, for workers, for small businesses. So what happens now? Right now, the US government is debating even more tariffs on China. If they go through, the impact will be severe. Expect car prices to rise again, making it harder for families to afford a new vehicle. Expect higher grocery bills, hitting households already struggling with inflation. Expect small businesses, already operating on razor-thin margins, to shut down under the weight of soaring costs. And worst of all, the average American will bear the burden, because that's how tariffs work. They don't punish foreign governments, they punish you. So, what's the solution? Some say we need better trade deals, agreements that actually benefit American workers. Some say we need to bring manufacturing back to the US, so we're not so dependent on foreign imports in the first place. Some say we need an entirely new economic strategy, one that focuses on innovation, education, and long-term growth rather than short-term political wins. But one thing is absolutely clear. Tariffs are not the answer. So what do you think? Are tariffs hurting America more than they're helping? Or do we need to double down and fight back harder? Comment below. Let's talk. And if you found this video eye-opening, hit that like button. Subscribe to Econ Atlas for more hard-hitting economic insights. Because the truth, it's expensive, and it's time someone told it.